Frankel and NeNe Leakes tea. So apparently, you already know that it's been officially announced that NeNe Leakes is joining Ultimate Girls Trip, Real Housewives. It's not a full-time situation. I think basically gonna be a cameo appearance. Like, I think one of the girls, I think Portia's on this season. I gotta look it up. Hold on, let me see. The cast of, I said Ultimate Girl Trip, but it was Ultimate Road Trip. Oh yeah, they got okay, so it's Vicky Gunvalson, Luann de Lesseps, Kyle Richards, Giselle Bryant, Teresa Giudice, Lisa Barlow. Well, I can't stand that bitch only because she came from my publicist, and I got a beef with her ever since. So I don't like Lisa Barlow. That bitch can go get hit by a truck, and Portia Williams. So and then you have NeNe coming in at with as a special appearance. It is about me them sitcom and with a special appearance by, like, it's giving that, and it's just like, I don't know if I care. Like, I'm like, you doing all of this propping up NeNe for what? So that way she can make a cameo. Don't nobody want that. And I know y'all so damn thirsty to get NeNe back on y'all screens. Y'all will just take whatever crumbs that they gonna give you with the show. Just like NeNe willing to take whatever crumbs they're about to give her with this Bravo deal. But we'll get into that in a second. But now people are mad at Bethenny because remember, once upon a time, I think she and Bethenny are still friends. But Bethenny recently gave her thoughts on this whole situation of NeNe coming back to Bravo and said some pretty valid things. But people are mad at the messenger and the message she delivered rather than really taking a pause and being like, you know what? Bethenny actually got some valid points. But then again, I can totally understand why some people would think she was hating. So we got that clip. Let's take a trip over to Bethenny's TikTok, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. Please
on NeNe going back to Bravo. So NeNe and I have a good relationship, and I'm so happy for her for whatever makes her happy in her life. And everyone makes decisions for different reasons, emotionally, financially, career, relevance, whatever anyone's choices. I'm thrilled for NeNe. And I want to mention a couple of things. One, I've never in history heard of someone go after a company and take legal action for different accusations and then that company hire them back. That's just an interesting dynamic. Like, I don't know if there are any other examples of that, but I pitched to Matt Anderson, who is an executive producer on Miami and Atlanta and New York, a road trip show with just NeNe and myself, where I took her to see my friends and visit things I'm interested in throughout the country and different restaurants, etc. And she would take me on hers. And they said that she was kryptonite and toxic and that they couldn't touch it, that the producer could never touch it. So I'm not in any way saying that they stole my idea. Road Trip has been a movie and many people have had different road trip shows, nor do I care. And if they do or did, great. But it's just an interesting conversation on how, like, time heals all wounds, or not everything is as it seems in the moment, or about, I don't know, I think it's like a positive thing in, like, I mean, the bridge was not burned because they're doing this show with NeNe, with the same concept, except that this is a group of people, and mine was just about her and I alone, but it was literally for us to go in an RV across the country, have all the receipts, pitched it also to Jen O'Connell, who remembers, but food for thought, because you guys love the tea, so maybe that's some tea. But I'm very happy for NeNe Leakes, and I wish her all the best in her adventure life and on her road trip. You're welcome. P.S. When I pitched the show to NeNe, she said, you keep thinking of these ideas, but they don't happen. And I said to her, because every time I pitch it to someone, they say no. So time heals all wounds.
Well, it could be. Wait, hold on. I just realized I have my mic muted. But I was like, it could be the fact that, well, look, here's the thing. I do think it's a really good idea that they were going to do a road trip type situation. Because to be honest, I would rather watch a NeNe and Bethenny road trip show with just them two and them getting like stopping in different areas and shenanigans ensue, that would be a cute show because these are two women that are very opinionated. And I would rather see that over a show with Vicky and Luann and Kyle and Giselle and Teresa and Lisa and Portia. Like, I just don't feel like that is an interesting cast. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some drama that ensues, and I guess when they stop in Atlanta, we'll see NeNe come in. But the people in the comments, they was going in on Bethenny because they wasn't agreeing. One person said NeNe is housewives, and they realized they're lost. Really? Or the fact of the matter is that the housewives doesn't carry the same weight as it once did, and they're so thirsty they got to use their, Mount Rushmore of housewives to try to draw in ratings. Because quiet as it's kept, I don't think them ratings on a lot of these shows, like nobody's watching Atlanta. Atlanta was dry as hell last season. Them peaches was rotten last season. Nobody cares about Salt Lake City. The numbers is in the toilet. You can look it up. Google Schmoogle. The numbers is not doing what needs to be done. I don't know how Beverly Hills is doing. And to be honest, I love Beverly Hills. I'm not watched an episode of the season yet. And it's probably because besides the fact that I'm busy and I got a lot of stuff going on, the momentum is not really there for me to rush to go watch this show. So I don't know necessarily how the numbers is doing with Beverly Hills, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about Beverly Hills. I haven't seen any of my, a lot of these YouTubers, bloggers, whatever, up and at him. I haven't heard him say anything, or maybe he don't pop up in my timeline because, he stayed talking all housewives stuff. So I don't know how that's doing. But for those of you who are out there watching the Housewives Beverly Hills, whatever, let me know what y'all think about the current season, if the show was actually good, because I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. I'm caught up in the Traders. That's what I'm watching right now. And they got a lot of, they be having them housewives on there. But another person said, this doesn't sound like happiness for NeNe. And Bethenny's in the comments, she said, full happiness. And another person, LMAO, please don't let a friend like this ever find me. Another person, everyone quiet, my favorite show, things Bethenny invented, pitched, first thought of is on. Another person, I'm confused. NeNe is participating in the new Ultimate Girls Trip, so is Bethenny taking credit for the Ultimate Girls Trip or getting NeNe getting NeNe back on Bravo? Well, here's the thing. NeNe basically thanked Phaedra and Portia for I guess, keeping her name in the conversation regarding of her getting on there. Bethenny's name wasn't mentioned. I saw the video with NeNe. She thanked them. She thanked Andy, even though Andy don't look that thrilled to be having you up on there. But I guess because you done met all that ass kissing and all the bloops and all the stuff that he was doing. Now he feeling the kind of way. So whatever. But here's the thing: people didn't realize this is not show friends. This is show business. So at the end of the day, you do what you got to do to get on camera. And then she also went and said she don't know any other business where they do that. They do it in Hollywood all the time. You can curse somebody out, you can say all this craziness, and then 6 months later, you got a job. Again, like there's a resurgence in your career. Hollywood is a different animal versus a regular job. Now, if we talking about getting a job at AT&T or Shake Shack or whatever the case is, yeah, you cut somebody out, or you say these people did this, and you file a lawsuit. I don't think anybody's going to go back to that regular job. But when it's Hollywood and it's slim pickings and you still out here trying to do the things that need to be done, yeah, I can see you coming back and getting a job. Now, my issue with NeNe is the fact that she's lazy. Because I don't understand, like, so many other people have been able to parlay careers, like, especially when you look at someone like a Bethenny, where the TV is the plus. It's the great thing that you could use to promote your products, whatever the case is. And Bethenny is making probably good money, testing people products and giving her opinions on it. I know a lot of people watch those videos and like that. And then here's the thing. Oh, there was enough. But I just think that NeNe has just been relatively lazy in regarding, like, there's been so many opportunities you could have had to parlay your career to be bigger beyond Housewives. And I just felt like you got lazy. Your ego was too damn big and you didn't take advantage of those opportunities. More or less, why didn't you focus on that talk show that you was having on YouTube? You should have still kept it going. You could have been on the same level as like a Funky Dineva or somebody or another, where you up in there interviewing celebrities or whatever the case is, talking pop culture, hot topics. That's definitely a niche you should have jumped in. I don't know about yourself. Maybe you could have had a co-host, whatever the case is, but you could have really parlayed that whole talk show thing on YouTube. YouTube is the future. You should have been focusing on that, but she let that ball drop. And I don't know if she's still waiting for Ryan Murphy to give her a gig, but it's just like you could have been finding other ways to make things interesting, but you ain't do that. That's why I do laugh. Speaking of Funky Dynamic, because remember that time when NeNe was trying to do a talk show with her and a bunch of homosexuals. And then when they was doing all of this, that they was doing that foolishness. And then we was up in there mocking them all over the camera, for what that mess was. I don't know what it was, but it was just tragic. And then that's how TGIF was born, and then we all know what happened with that show. Can't never have a good thing just continue without, people coming in and fucking up the thing. But for that one person that said earlier, that said everyone quiet, my favorite things Bethenny invented / pitched / first thought of is on. I actually remember back when Bethenny and NeNe was doing a talk show. I think they were going to call it Bethenny. They were doing a podcast, whatever. It lasted like maybe 2-3 episodes, and then it just went nowhere. Typical when it comes to NeNe and stuff. Things start out great, and then after a couple of shows, then it just dies in the weeds. So I remember Bethenny and was talking about, and I remember like it was yesterday. It's funny. There's things I'd be like, I've totally forgot. I can forget what I ate yesterday, but I remember this. She literally came out and said that that she wanted to do a road trip type show. I remember her saying that. So she's not lying in regards to that. And of course, a lot of people will be like, oh, no, I don't want to do that show. And mind you, they'll put that story in the back of their head or write it down and put it in their pocket. And then years later, it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to develop this, act like they created it. And we're going to bring all these other girls into the situation and do a road trip type situation. So a lot of people wasn't really feeling Bethenny. They felt like she was hating. And maybe there's some truth to the fact that she could have been hating. But I do feel like, on the other hand, I don't mind you calling out the thing. It's like, why would, after everything you said about what they did to you at Bravo, would you want to go back to the very people that treated you like shit? Why would you do that? Like, is that the only way you can get a gig? Is that you got to go groveling back to Bravo? So I don't mind her asking the question because we should be able to just look at all sides of the situation. But for the most part, it's just like Bethenny just being Bethenny. People are, immediately equated with hating, but I just feel like calling it hate is just lazy. So, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you feel like Bethenny was hating by bringing up the fact that, yeah, I'm glad for NeNe to go back and do the gig and all this other stuff, but I guess based on private conversations, that's not necessarily the conversation that was had in regards of, her and the whole situation with Bravo. She probably told a whole lot of other crazy stuff. And now I guess time, as she said, time heals all wounds. People put all that, it's like water off a duck's back, water under a bridge, whatever phrase you want to use. And now we're at a situation where she's not allowing, bygones is bygones and they want to do business. Because like I said before, I truly feel that the Housewives franchise is on its last legs. I just think that people have moved on from that franchise. People have outgrown that a bunch of older ladies out here just beefing over nothing. I just think that whole formula is kind of just dried out. And they got to find new ways to reinvent themselves. So it's probably a plethora of things, but I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below.